Okay, let's unpack this. You've given us a fascinating peek into a specific corner of Japanese food culture, and today we're taking a serious deep dive into Nakatsu Karaage from Oita Prefecture.
We are indeed. Yeah, we're digging into this article titled Delicious, Both Deep Fried and Cold. Introducing Nakatsu Karaage from Oita, Japan, Japanese oyashi foods. And it lays out quite the picture of this regional specialty.
Right, and our mission really is to figure out what exactly makes this particular fried chicken so renowned, understand its place in its hometown, Nakatsu City.
And why people call it the Holy Land of Fried Chicken.
Exactly, that Holy Land title. So get ready, you might find some surprising details about something you thought you knew pretty well, fried chicken. Okay, so diving right in, the article makes it clear, like right from the start, Nakatsu isn't just a place for Karaage, it's kind of the place,
Yeah.
the epicenter.
Absolutely. I mean, the Japan Karage Association officially recognizes Nakatsu City as the sacred land of Karage. That's, quite the endorsement.
It really is. And the article points to something incredible, this density of specialty Karaage restaurants. It says there are reportedly more than convenience stores. Can you even imagine that?
It's hard to picture, right? Fried chicken shops just everywhere.
Yeah.
But, that statistic alone tells you something really important. That kind of concentration, it must breed intense local competition.
Oh, for sure.
Every single shop has to be on their absolute A game just to survive, let alone thrive. And that pushes the overall quality level incredibly high, you'd think.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And this intense focus is probably why the Karaage Festival, which is a nationwide thing now, actually originated right there in Nakatsu. So
Oh.
it's not just some catchy nickname, it's really baked into the city's identity.
And if we look back at the history the source lays out, the story of these Nakatsu Karaage specialty shops, it really seems to kick off around 1970.
Okay, 1970s.
Yeah, with places like Moriyama Karaage Shop and Hosokawa opening their doors, they were some of the first.
But why Nakatsu specifically? Like, what were the ingredients, pardon the pun, that led to this city becoming the birthplace?
Well, the article highlights a couple of pretty interesting historical threads. First, after World War II, food policy apparently encouraged poultry farming.
Right.
And Nakatsu ended up with a lot of chicken farms. So the raw material, the chicken itself, was just readily available and probably quite cheap.
Okay, so supply was definitely a big factor. Makes sense.
Exactly. And then there's this other piece, maybe even more fascinating. The source mentions people returning from Manchuria after the war. And they apparently brought back Chinese chicken demand as they'd learned or encountered there. They started reproducing those flavors and techniques locally, blending them with what was available in the katsu.
Ah, okay, so a fusion right from the very beginning. Local abundance meeting sort of international influence.
Precisely, yeah. And from those beginnings, Nakatsu Karaage didn't just stay some niche thing. It spread. It became part of everyday life. It really transformed into the soul food of the city's citizens, as the article puts it.
Soul food, I like that.
Mm.
All right, so we've got the setting, the history, that Holy Land title. But let's get to the meat of it, so to speak. What is it about Nakatsu Karaage that makes it stand out? What makes it taste so good?
Well, what really leaps out from the article are the details of the craft, how they actually make it. One key characteristic they mention is the thin batter.
Thin batter. That sounds, well, it sounds kind of counterintuitive for fried chicken, doesn't it? You usually think thick and crunchy.
It does, yeah. But the source suggests it's totally intentional. That thinness allows the chicken inside to get really juicy while still achieving, a crispy exterior.
Okay.
But crucially, that thinness lets the true chicken flavor and the seasoning really penetrate and shine through. It's not hiding behind a heavy crust.
Ah, I see. So the focus isn't really on the coating itself. It's more on the chicken and the seasoning.
Exactly. And that seasoning is deep. Like in the meat, the article talks about juices overflowing with every bite, which tells you a lot about the moisture and flavor retention. And this leads us right to the secret sauces.
Ah, okay, the mystery element. Always a secret sauce.
Right. Every shop has one, usually soy sauce or salt-based,
Yeah.
apparently, but they blend in maybe 10 or so different seasonings, things like garlic, ginger, and then these unique hidden flavors.
Ah,
The exact mix, how long they marinate it. That's the shop's signature, their secret weapon.
so each place, even though it's Nakatsu style, offers a slightly different taste experience.
Absolutely. And then there's this truly unique technique mentioned, the frying method. Get this. Instead of completely replacing the frying oil every day or whatever,
Yep.
they discard some of the dirty oil, but then they add new oil to what's left. They top it up.
That sounds Well, unconventional, maybe even a little strange if you're used to, like, standard deep frying practices.
It does, doesn't it? But the brilliance, according to the source anyway, is that this technique actually concentrates the chicken broth in the frying oil over time.
Concentrates the broth in the oil.
Yeah. So that leftover flavor from chicken fried earlier gets infused into the new chicken being fried.
Yeah.
It builds this richer, thicker taste profile. It's like a never-ending flavor loop in the fryer.
Wow. That is an incredible detail. Using the history of the frying process itself to build flavor, that's dedication.
It really speaks to the dedication to craft, I think. And another practical point the source highlights, and this is important, is that Nakatsu Karage is apparently designed to be delicious even when cold.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah, a major advantage for takeout, which, as we'll see, is a really big part of the whole Nakatsu Karage culture.
And you mentioned many shops are serious about natural flavors, like avoiding chemical seasonings.
That's right. The article notes that many shops specifically avoid MSG or other chemical seasonings to keep the taste pure and let the natural ingredients shine. So thinking about all these different elements together, the article essentially presents Nakatsu Karage's appeal through a few key lenses, you could say.
Right, okay. So there's the obvious one, the distinctive taste and texture we just talked about.
Yeah.
That juicy inside, the crispy thin batter, the deep seasoning, those unique sauces.
Yep, the flavor profile. Then there's the whole cultural background being the Holy Land, that intense competition driving quality, its history as soul food, the Karage Festival starting there. The place itself is sort of part of the flavor.
Yeah, the context matters.
Definitely. And underpinning it all is the craftsmanship, that specific frying method, the insistence on using fresh, local Kyushu chicken, and even the willingness to offer less common, maybe more local parts like gizzards or sasori.
Sasori, what's that?
It's a neck meat, I
Yeah.
believe, known for being really flavorful and having a unique texture. Offering parts like that shows real dedication to the ingredient and the technique.
Gotcha. And that craftsmanship often means you gotta wait.
Yeah, that's another point the source makes. Many shops apparently fry after you place your order, so it might mean a 10-minute wait, maybe a bit longer sometimes.
But you get it piping hot.
Exactly. Incredibly fresh, straight from the fryer. Probably worth the wait.
Speaking of shops, the article actually gives us a taste of a few specific places you might find if you actually go to Nakatsu. Let's check out some of their highlights. First up, Nakatsu Karage Sohonki Moriyama.
Right. This is one of the OGs, you could say. Founded in 1970. A true pioneer in the whole specialty shop scene there.
Okay, one of the originals. What's their particular thing?
Their secret is apparently a salt-based garlic sauce, and they're very particular about using domestic garlic, not imported.
Interesting detail.
Yeah, and they also put a lot of focus on managing that unique Nakatsu frying oil quality we were just discussing, keeping that flavor base going.
And if you go there, what does the article recommend trying?
It specifically calls out the bone-in Karaage. They say its simple flavor is really deep and that the bone itself actually imparts more taste to the meat around it.
Ah, the flavor near the bone. Classic.
Exactly. And for the locals, or maybe the more adventurous visitors, sunazuri, which are gizzards, are apparently a must-try.
Gizzards, okay. Crunchy texture.
Yep, known for their unique crunchy texture. And the article says they're a perfect match for sake, a real local favorite.
Simple classics and a local fave. Plus, good to know they're free of chemical seasonings, too.
Okay, next up, the article mentions Karaage shop Karaage.
Karaage. Sounds convenient. The source says it's located near the station and Nakatsu Castle.
It is, yeah. Good location. They seem to focus on using fresh Kyushu chicken, which they claim gives their Karaage a distinctive, elastic, kind of chewy texture.
Elastic and chewy. Interesting. And the flavor. Is it different from Moriyama's salt base?
Oh, yeah. This one sounds like it's for people who like a bold flavor. Their marinade is described as serious business.
How so?
It's a homemade soy sauce-based sauce, but with over 10 ingredients. Garlic, soy sauce, chili pepper, even fruit, apparently. And get this. They marinate the chicken for a full 24 hours.
24 hours. Wow. That is intense flavor soaking. What's the recommended order there, then?
The article points to the boneless mix. They really emphasize that proudly soaked in garlic soy sauce flavor. And it's supposedly great even when cold and fantastic with rice. Their bento boxes are also really popular, it seems.
Makes sense for a takeaway near the station.
Yeah.
And they've got the awards to back it up, right? 9 consecutive gold medals.
Yeah, 9 years in a row. Gold medal winner in the Western Japan soy sauce category at the Karaage Grand Prix. That's some serious consistency and recognition. And finally, the third one highlighted is Nakatsu Iro Toridori.
Iro Toridori. This one caught my eye. It's a takeout specialty shop, also near the station. And the owner is called a fried chicken meister. That sounds impressive.
It really does. That title tells you something about the level of dedication, right? The source explains the owner controls the entire process himself, like everything from sourcing the chicken to the final fry, all to ensure absolute consistency.
A true artisan approach.
Yeah.
And their recommended item. Is it something special?
It is. It's sesari, that neck meat we mentioned earlier. A less common part, but their version actually won a gold medal at the 2024 Karaage Grand Prix.
Oh, wow. A recent champion for neck meat.
Yeah, specifically in the Western Japan taste variety category. So they're doing something right with it.
What's special about their sesari, according to the source?
It's described as really juicy, with a flavor that's somehow both delicate and bold. They also use 100% Kyushu chicken and marinate it for 24 hours, similar long marinade time, in their own soy sauce garlic fruit sauce blend.
Another complex sauce.
Seems like it. And the Meister is apparently meticulous, even offering variations with less garlic to cater to different tastes. Very thoughtful.
It really does sound like the takeout specialty shop is the classic Nakatsu experience.
Yeah.
Even if it means that little wait for the fresh, hot stuff.
Yeah, that seems to be the core of it.
Now, the article also includes this little fascinating detour, a mini deep dive into the difference between Karaage and something called Tatsuta age. They look pretty similar in pictures, don't they?
They really do, and it's easy to confuse them now, but historically the article explains they were quite distinct. Originally, Karaage was a much broader term.
Broader how?
It simply meant taking pretty much any food, meat, fish, vegetables, whatever, dusting it lightly with flour or maybe starch, and then deep frying it without any pre-seasoning or marinade.
Oh, so no seasoning originally.
Apparently not. The name itself, kara, meaning Chinese, suggests it was seen as a basic frying method, perhaps introduced from China. Just a technique.
Okay, so Karaage was just the unseasoned frying method. What about Tatsuta age then?
Tatsuta age, on the other hand, was purely Japanese in origin. It's named after the Tatsuta River, which is famous in Nara for its beautiful autumn leaves.
Ah, there's that poetic origin story the source mentioned, right?
Exactly. It's quite romantic. The source tells us the image was red meat, maybe chicken or fish, marinated in soy sauce, and mirin, giving it a reddish hue.
Right.
Then coated in white potato starch. So the red and white together supposedly evoked the image of red autumn leaves floating on the river's white waves.
That's beautiful. So what were the key technical differences then?
Well, Tatsuta age was always seasoned beforehand, typically with that soy sauce and mirin mix. And traditionally, it only used potato starch for the coating, not flour.
Okay, so seasoned and only potato starch. Got it.
And it was commonly used for fish and meat. The article even mentions whale Tatsuta age being served in school lunches historically in Japan.
Wow, whale. Okay, so clear lines initially. Unseasoned flour starch dusting for Karaage versus seasoned potato starch coating for Tatsuta age. But the article says those lines are kind of blurry today.
Totally blurred. It seems like today's Karaage is almost always seasoned and marinated beforehand, just like Tatsuta age was. And sometimes flour is used for Tatsuta age now.
So the terms have evolved.
Completely. And Karaage is now often used as the sort of general umbrella term for Japanese-style fried chicken, which can sometimes encompass dishes that might historically have been called Tatsuta age.
It just shows how dynamic food culture is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even for something as seemingly straightforward as fried chicken, the definitions and methods change over time.
It really does. Reflects Japan's rich and evolving food scene.
Okay, so if all this talk of juicy, crispy, uniquely flavored Karaage has you, our listener, wanting to make the pilgrimage to Nakatsu.
Which it might.
Right. The source gives us some ideas for what else you could do once you're there. Pairing that amazing takeout Karaage with some local sightseeing sounds like a perfect plan.
It really does. And first on the list is Nakatsu Castle.
Ah, the one built by the legendary Warring States General, Kambei Kuroda. That's a big name in Japanese history.
Huge name. And it's super accessible, apparently. About a 15-minute walk from JR Nakatsu Station. So perfect timing to grab your Karaage from one of those nearby shops and head over.
And it's not just ruins, right? It houses a museum.
Yeah, the Okuhira Family History Museum. It gives you context on the local history during the Edo period, the Nakatsu clan, the castle town.
And the article mentioned something about recent renovations, too.
That's right. It was recently renovated and apparently had a pre-opening in May 2025 with new exhibits. So it should be looking pretty good. It's considered one of the top attractions near the station, especially if you're into history.
Plus, you probably get great views from the castle itself, right?
Yeah.
And the surrounding castle town, the source says, is dotted with karage shops for more snacking while you explore.
Sounds ideal. And it's also known as a water castle, facing the Suo Sea. An interesting piece of historical defense architecture to check out. Another spot the source recommends, a bit different, is Ono Domen. That's the Blue Cave Gate.
Oh, yeah, this is the famous tunnel that was carved by a monk, right? Such an incredible story.
That's the one. It's this historic passage, over 340 meters long in total, with a good chunk being a 144-meter tunnel section. And the story is just, ow.
Yeah.
It was apparently hand-dug over 30 years by this monk named Zenkai, using only a chisel and a hammer.
Just a chisel and hammer.
Like purely out of compassion, the story goes. For travelers who had to use this really dangerous cliffside path nearby, he wanted to make a safe route for them.
30 years of chiseling by hand, just out of kindness. That's absolutely mind-blowing dedication.
Isn't it? The source even says you can still see the chisel marks in some parts of the tunnel today. The name Blue, by the way, just comes from the local district it's in.
And the setting sounds beautiful, too. Flowers, autumn leaves.
Yeah, the article mentions blue Nemophila flowers blooming nearby in spring, and it's a popular spot for stunning autumn leaves as well.
So maybe a nice drive.
It's about a 20-minute drive from Nakatsu City, apparently, and there's free parking. It's a popular photo spot, especially in autumn. You could easily bring your takeout Karaage, find a nice spot, and enjoy it while taking in the dramatic canyon scenery and thinking about that monk's work. And finally, the third sightseeing recommendation is Yabakai.
Yabakai. I think I've heard of this. It's one of Japan's really famous scenic spots, isn't it? Like one of the 3 great scenic spots or something.
That's right, it is. It's a whole area along the Yamakuni River that's renowned for its strange, dramatic rock formations and these superb peaks.
Yeah.
Very picturesque.
Where did the name come from?
The story goes that an Edo period writer, Sanyo Rai, visited and thought it looked just like a classical Chinese landscape painting, a sanzuiga. So he named it Yabakai.
Sounds incredibly beautiful, especially, I imagine, in autumn.
Absolutely. The source specifically highlights late October to mid-November for the incredible autumn foliage. The mountains just turn vibrant red and yellow. There are loads of viewpoints like Hitome Haki View of 8 scenes at a glance and Saratobi Sensubo Gorge.
Wow. And is there anything more active to do there besides just looking?
Yep. They suggest the Maple Yama Cycling Road. It's built on an abandoned railway line, so it's probably quite scenic and relatively flat. You can rent bikes there.
Nice option.
Yeah, it sounds like the whole Yabakai area is rich in nature, history, and culture. Definitely worth exploring if you're making the trip out to Nakatsu anyway. But ultimately, the article really leaves you with this feeling that while you can read about Nakatsu Garage, you can look at pictures, maybe even try to replicate it.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. The best way, the true way to experience it is probably to just go there.
To be in the Holy Land, soak in that atmosphere, smell it cooking everywhere.
Yeah, and experience it hot and fresh, maybe just minutes out of that special oil straight from the shop. That's the real deal.
So after this deep dive, what have we really learned about Nakatsu Garage? I mean, it's clearly so much more than just, tasty fried chicken.
Oh, absolutely. It's a genuine cultural icon, isn't it? Born from this specific historical context, local resources meeting these outside influences from China.
Right. And it's defined by this really unique craftsmanship, like that fascinating flavor-building oil technique. I'm still thinking about that.
Me too. It's wild. And it's sustained by this fierce local pride and intense competition, which has turned it into the absolute soul food of a city that seems truly dedicated to perfecting this one single dish.
And the sheer variety we touched on, different shops, different cuts of chicken like sesame or gizzards, all those different secret sauces.
Yeah.
It feels like the exploration could never really end, even just within Nakatsu.
There's always another shop to try.
This journey really shows how something as seemingly simple and everyday as a dish of fried chicken, born out of necessity and local conditions.
Yeah.
how it can evolve over time to become the absolute heart of a city's identity.
Mm.
It's built through generations of dedication, these unique techniques passed down, and just a whole lot of community passion.
It really does raise an interesting question, doesn't it?
Mm.
Like, what other seemingly humble, everyday foods around the world hold such a deep, powerful, and maybe often overlooked connection to the specific place they come from and the people who make them generation after generation?
That's a great question. Something for you, the listener, to ponder the next time you grab a bite of your own local favorite.